and that she didn't look like everybody, all the other women that were working there in the field that day. And you know, I've been talking to you about the fact that Boaz is a little older. You know, well, I'll prove that out here in chapter 3. Just hang around for a while, and we'll prove that he's a little bit older. He's a little bit longer in the tooth. He's been a confirmed bachelor for a while, but then not only is that the first thing that catches his attention, but then he finds out and realizes he's told by those men and women working in the field about her and who she is and what she's about. Okay, she's the daughter-in-law of Naomi, and she came back to Bethlehem, Judah with Naomi, and she has undertaken the duty of making sure that she and Naomi are cared for and have enough to eat, and her kindness toward her mother-in-law. She was not legally bound to her. Okay, the minute that her husband died, Ruth was set free from that obligation, but she chose voluntarily to go back to Bethlehem, Judah with Naomi, and to live there and be a part of this society, to be a part of these people. And even though she's a stranger in the land, even though she doesn't look like them, even though she doesn't dress like them, even though she may not act like them, she has chosen by choice, voluntarily, to be there and to take care of Naomi because of her love for this woman. She didn't know anybody else when she got there, but she knew Naomi, and she had sold out to this lady. In verse number 19, and her mother-in-law, who is Naomi, said unto her, where hast thou gleaned today? Now, we touched on this the other night, okay? This is that tie-in verse that we always use, okay? And where did you work today? And blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. Who somebody noticed you. Why? Because she came home with her apron plumb full of grain, enough grain to last for several days. And Naomi knew that was not natural. Isn't it great that we serve a supernatural God? Isn't it great that he pours out his blessings upon us? We may not deserve it. We may not have earned it because of his grace that he has bestowed upon us. He gives us that grace, and he bestows that grace upon us. And he said, who took knowledge of you, and where did you work? And she told him where she went. She told him what field she was in, and she said, by the way, his name was Boaz. Now, we talked about your Boaz, okay? You ladies, you young ladies especially, who are holding out and waiting for that certain someone, hold out for him. Make sure that certain someone is exactly who God intends for you to have, to be your husband for life, until death do us part. And in verse number 20, and Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Why? Because he's not left us. He's not forsaken us. He's not left off his kindness toward us. And not to the living nor the dead. Now, what she's saying, she's telling Ruth, she said, bless God. God is bestowing his favor upon us. He's not forgotten us. Here it is. I came all the way back from Moab. I came back home empty-handed. I came back and wanted everybody to call me Myra instead of Naomi because I was bitter. I was upset with God. And yet we get back here and God begins to develop a plan in our life. Now, we know from our perspective that the plan had been developed already. This was just a part of God's plan. I mean, this people right here is in the lineage of Jesus Christ. I don't think for 1 minute that God set out and just, kind of like we do sometimes. Somebody said, what are you going to do today? I don't know. Well, you got any plans? Nope. Well, I'm retired, right? I'm retired. I don't have to have plans. But you know what? Let me explain something to you. God already has plans for you. God has plans for you today, and he has plans for you tomorrow, and he has plans for you next week until your purpose and your season in this life is over, and then he has a purpose for you. He'll call you home. But as long as you're here, He has a game plan in mind for you. Now, you may be totally ignorant to it. You may not know, but I promise you that God knows. God knows exactly what you're going to do tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And he knew it from the beginning, before the foundation of the world, before he ever spoke this thing into existence, before he ever created Adam out of dust, before he ever took that rib out of his side and made woman. He already knew exactly where you were going to be tomorrow. I think my God might be a God of detail. What do you think? Absolutely. He's a God of detail. And see, all this, if we were children of happenstance, we would go, wow, that's a lot of coincidences. Well, you know, it's kind of like a little bit ago, Miss PJ brought our devotion for us. And I don't know when exactly that she wrote this devotion. I assume that it was over a long period of time. And it was long before I ever preached last week's message or I preached this morning's message. But already in her devotion, God had already led her to pen some things connecting her devotion to those messages. And then this morning I preach out of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and lo and behold, that's there in her devotion. I talk about Romans 8:28. She already has it in her devotion. Now, we can think that that's some kind of a happenstance. We can think, well, what coincidences that is. Well, let me explain something. God is not a God of happenstance, and God is not a God of coincidences. God's a God of great detail. And so when we see these things happening, and, you know, the first time we see it happen, it's kind of like, wow. And then the next time, it's kind of like, that's cool. But then when it just continues to happen over and over and over and over again, we have to come to the conclusion that maybe God has us in mind, that God has a plan for us. And that plan, he is weaving it all together, whether somebody is teaching a Bible study. You ladies, y'all have a Bible, or not a Bible study, but a book study tomorrow night. And you're reading, I know the book, but they don't call them chapters. What? Strategies. You're reading a strategy each week. And my wife has been asked several times if I'm reading your book. Because so many times the messages that God gives us to preach coincides with the strategy that he has planned for you the next day. No. I have chosen not to read that book yet. I may read it when y'all are finished with it, but I don't want to set God's coincidences up. I would rather God do it. And I can stand before you and tell you right now that I have not read one, what is it again? Strategy. I have not read one. I haven't read the forward in it. I haven't read anything about it. I don't know how many strategies there are. But, you know, I do know my God. And I know what my God's capable of. And so when we look at this, at the life of Ruth and Naomi and Boaz from our point of view, from our perspective, we go, oh, yeah, we can see that. But guess what? They were living it. Sometimes we have a tendency to think that these are stories that somebody just made up. But they're not. This is a real-life person. These are real-life persons. Okay, these events really did happen to them in the age when the judges ruled. Okay? God even gave us a specific time period when this was taking place. And so, and then we see how God is just, he has his hand in all of this. And Naomi's talking about Boaz, and she said, yes, this is an important connection here because God has not forgotten us. Because, see, Boaz, this man is a near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen, okay? In one translation, it talks about a near kinsman, okay? What does that mean? That means the nearest kinsman is perhaps a first cousin. In some respects, it might even be a brother. But I don't, I know this. I know that Boaz was not Elimelech's brother. I'm not even sure that he was Elimelech's cousin. Now, we do know this. Remember, we talked about this last week. In Bethlehem, Judah, they all kin. They're all family. They're either cousins, second cousins, third cousins. They all sprang from one tribe that started out as one husband and wife. And so there's a bloodline here. Okay? But we know this, that he's very, very close. He's probably, from our perspective, probably a second cousin, okay, of Elimelech. Now, who was Elimelech? You say, well, Elimelech was Naomi's husband who died while they were over in Moab, okay? And so she mentions here that phrase, a near kinsman or a next kinsman. And Ruth the Moabitess said, he said also unto me, thou shalt keep fast with my young men until they have ended all my harvest. In other words, he's inviting her, encouraging her to stay with his people, his workers, those who are reaping from his fields, those that he has hired. Because now not only has he began a process of providing for her and Naomi, but now he is issuing a decree of protection. Okay? Let me tell you something about my Lord. My God is a provider. Okay? My God provides. He takes care of my needs. And when I'm in a acute parallel and agreement with God, he even gives me the desires of my heart. Amen? The Word tells me that. He's my provider. But not only is he my provider, but he's my protection. He's my protector. He's my buckler. He's my shield. Amen? He takes care. We see in the Word of God that where we're supposed to put on every day the whole armor of God. And we've talked about this, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, our feet shod with the Word. And we're supposed to do this every day. Now, there's not one piece of protection for our backside. And two things. First of all, we're not supposed to be in retreat. We're supposed to be going forward. And secondly is he has our back. Okay, he has our backside. He's going to protect us. He's not going to allow the enemy to come and attack us from the backside. If we'll just continue on, pressing forward, pressing toward the mark, always making that progress, always going forward, God said, I got your back. He is our protector. And, he has the ability through his word to deflect the fiery darts of Satan. We have been lied to by the devil, by Satan, by old Beelzebub, smutty face, whatever you want to call him. He's lied to us and told us that he's really not as bad as what this word and these people, these Christians, claim him to be. No, I tell you the truth, he's worse. He's worse than what we can even imagine. And, I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about Satan, and here's the thing, folks. He's got a few thousand years experience on you, okay? And he knows. And what's bad is he knows what buttons to push on you. He knows exactly. I tell the story that I don't do this often, but sometimes at Christmas I get trapped. I get trapped in that Christmas shopping. Now, I don't like to shop. And so what I do is I agree to go along because one Saturday night, usually before Christmas, we go and I'll meet Barbara and used to the girls at Abilene or somewhere, and they'd want to go to the mall, and we were going to go out and eat and do those. And so I would go with them, but what I would do is as they were shopping, I love the fact that they're decent enough there to put some little chairs and some benches out in the middle. And, you know, and they're much sought after. You know, sometimes you have to stand there and just stare somebody down. Make them feel real uncomfortable until they finally just get up. You know, if you'll do that, if you'll just stare at somebody and keep staring, they'll get uncomfortable. Pretty soon they'll get up and they'll leave and you can get their seat. Just saying, okay? It works. And you know, especially if you kind of look like, you know, some kind of a terrorist or something. They'll leave and you got their seat. And what I'll do is I will sit there and I will watch. And I love to watch people. I love to watch people as they go. And you know what's neat about when people's out shopping and they're visiting, their fellowship and life, they're not paying any attention that somebody's watching them. Just remember that. Somebody's watching. Okay? And you watch some and you look at some and you get that idea of, did your mama really let you out of the house looking like that? You know, and you'll see a couple and they'll come by and they're really into all the rather unique body piercing and all. And now don't get me wrong. And you go and you know and they really want your attention and they get mine. And I look at them and go, man, I'd like to have a pup out of that litter. And you knew it was coming. But just to watch people and to see, you know, you learn a few things about people just watching them. Well, I said all that to say this. Satan has been watching you. He watches you now. Maybe he's not doing it personally, but I guarantee you he's got a bunch of demonic angels. There's enough of them to go around, and they be watching you. You know, last week we talked about the fact that we have guardian angels, plural, more than one, because it takes more than one to keep up with me and keep me out of trouble. A guy told me today, he said, you be nice. And I said, I don't have to and you can't. Brother Ben wasn't there at lunch. He said, y'all be nice. And I said, I don't have to and you can't make me. But, you know, we have those guardian angels, but guess what? Satan has his demons. You know, and here's another thing we kind of, oh, no, that's olden stuff. You know, they're not really, let me explain something to you. To this point in the history of mankind, there has not been a reduction in Satan's workforce. You get my message? They're still out there. As many as existed in the day that Jesus was driving all of these demons out of these individuals, just in that one little area. There's plenty to go around. And their job is, and especially to a child of God, is try to push your buttons. Yeah, try to find out what it is that is your weakness. What temptation is it that you will yield to? What is it that is your besetting sin, if you will? That one that you're pretty good on most things, but that one that you just keep tripping over. And you just can't seem to get past it. And given the opportunity, he's going to push those buttons, or that button, to send you into a tailspin. Now, that's not God's desire. He wants to shield you from those fiery darts. But here's the thing. Here's something I've taught for years. You, as an individual, listen to me. You as an individual, you need to know who you are. You need to know what your besetting sin or sins are. You need to know which ones you're having trouble with. Because if you don't have a clue, I'll guarantee you, you're easy. You're an easy target. But here's what you do. Well, how do I find out? Ask God. God, will you please illuminate to me that area of my weakness? Because I need help. You know what? Most of the time we don't have to ask. We know what it is or what they are. We know what it is that will trip us up. And so, to know that gives us a heads up. And to know that and to going in, you take a football team. Any good coach knows what his strengths are. He knows what the strengths of his opponent are. He knows what the weaknesses of his opponent are. But he knows what his weaknesses are on his team. And what you try to do with those weaknesses is you try to defend against the enemy from taking advantage of your weakness. You cloak it. You don't put it on display. We have the same opportunity. When we know what our weakness is, and you know what? Years and years and years ago, a preacher of mine preached a message concerning men and women. And at that time, which was, I'll be honest with you, that was probably over 40 years ago, close to 42, 43 years ago, he was preaching this message. And he was giving the characteristics of men and the characteristics of women. Men, what is it that gets you in trouble? What is it? Our eyes. Our eyes are looking where they don't need to be looking. Now, to a casual glance is natural. To look more than once is suicide. And to stare will cause several broken ribs. Just letting you know. Okay? But we're talking about that's how, men, we get in trouble. We see a really nice, classy looking car. See, the older you get, your preferences change, okay? No, I've said this before, and I get in trouble for it every time. But you know what an 18-year-old boy looks at? 18-year-old girls. You know what a 58-year-old man looks at? 18-year-old girls. That's sick. My wife said, they're young enough to be your daughter, your granddaughter, and you go, but they're not. We get in trouble, first of all, with our eyes, and then we get in trouble because we're stupid enough to say things like that. I'm the only one, though, so you guys don't have to worry about it. I've already got the stupid part covered, okay? You don't have to do it. I've already done it for you, okay? Now then, he goes on and tells us about the characteristics of a man. You know what it is? What does it take to make a man happy? You know what? That bothers me. That bothers me right there, that no woman in here knows what it takes to make a man happy. Haven't got a clue. We're going to have one of those 6-hour marathon sessions before long, and we're going to deal with some of these subjects so that you will know what it takes to make a man happy. Come on, what does it take? That's right. You put some groceries on the table, you don't even have to have a fork and knife. We'll eat with our fingers. In fact, finger food is the kind we like best, okay? Because then you can lick your fingers while you're going finger licking good. It doesn't take a whole lot, ladies, to make a man happy. Okay, and of course we know that there's one other subject, and we won't deal with that one. Go on. Ladies, bless your hearts. I'm glad that you're not subject to the same weaknesses that we are. This used to be true. What is it that gets your attention? Chocolate. I don't think that's a wrong answer. Okay? It's those niceties. Yeah. There was a reason, men, that we've been called silver-tongued devils. Okay? We'll tell you sweet nothings. And that's what it is, nothing, because we can't back it up. Okay? We'll buy you chocolates as long as we're on the prowl. We'll take you out to dine you, and we'll take you out to places that you enjoy. And we'll tell you how, oh, baby, you be looking good. Whew, I tell you right now, man, whew, am I blushing? No. You are the sweetest. Oh, you're smelling good, too. Yeah. What's that you got on? Bacon grease. Yeah, link them all together. That's right. You got a strap. You wear a little bacon grease behind your ear, and we'll nuzzle on that ear all night long. Lord help us, I don't know how we got here tonight. But it's true. If I'm a lying, I'm a dying. Okay, it was just a minor pain. But you know, you ladies, you are more complicated than we are, okay? You know, you feed us. You tell us how smart we are. I know. God said don't lie. This is one circumstance that it's okay. Go ahead and tell us how smart we are. And I'll guarantee you, we will lie right back to you. Does this make me look fat? No, baby. No, not at all. Do what? It is a trick question. There is no good answer. Do not, you can tell, the preacher said, do not tell them the truth. Okay? Okay, back on point here, all right? No, you ladies are different. You need different things. That's it. There it is, need. You need to be needed. There's something about you that just, you have a need to be needed. God created that in you. Guess what? Men don't want to be needed. No, we don't want to be needed. No. You know, a woman who needs you, they're clingy. Man, oh no, don't touch me. We want to be wanted. I want you, baby. Oh, them's the magic words right there. Hey, you don't have to want too much. You got me, baby. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The need and the wants. The wants and the needs. But you know what? When it all comes together, isn't that a wonderful thing? Oh, I don't know. Has that ever happened before? Where all of it came to... Well, yeah, sure it does. It sure does. It does it in my house, doesn't it, baby? That's right. I need you. There we go. But yeah, I don't know how, I swear, God, I don't know how we got here. But, we're different. We're different. We have different things that, things that turn us on, and I'm talking about turn us on intellectually and excite us, okay? Boaz took interest in her. Now, my goodness, how quickly the time flies. It does, doesn't it? Now, I'll be honest with you. Here's a fellow who is getting a little more mature in bachelorhood. Probably has pretty much decided that he'll probably spend the rest of his time single. And there's no way in his mind that this young lady is going to take interest in him. And at this point, I don't think it's that kind of attraction. I think right now he's being the kind-hearted person that he is, who has just met another person who is kind-hearted. Man, can you imagine what kind of a family that combination would make if you had a kind-hearted man and a good-hearted woman? Yeah, I had a flashback. I think there's a song out there. No, not two-time. A good-hearted man. A good-hearted man. No. Man, yeah. God knows exactly what that mix is going to be. It's going to be that joining of those two wonderful individuals to make a strong, unified base. We never think about our families being that, but you know what? That's what it takes. If you want good children, if you want children that are grounded, you want children that are going to live a good, godly life, then you give them a good basis to start with. And that basis is our faith and our trust in Jesus Christ, of course, but it's also living that kind of a good life, being kind-hearted, being loving, being compassionate. You know, some of you younger parents, the best gift that you can give your children is to see you and your spouse loving each other. They may go, "Ooh, yuck, get a room." But you know what? It's okay. Because that's a whole lot better than seeing you throwing dishes at each other and calling each other vile names. Care for each other. Love each other. Put it on display in your house. You don't have to do it out on the street, but I'll guarantee you one thing. If me and my wife's going to walk down the mall, me and my wife are going to walk down the street, her hand's going to be in mine. Right there. She's mine. She said, I'm not jealous, but I'm possessive. That's true. You know why? I don't want to be jealous. Jealousy's a sickness. But I want every man that comes along that gives her a second look go, "Hey, guys, sorry, she's taken. She's mine." And you know what? When we walk down the street, I'm going to walk on the side nearest any kind of peril. I'm going to walk on the side of the street where she's protected. That's my job. That's my job. Is to be her protector and to be her provider. You guys, hey, guys, you got a job. That's to be a provider for your family. Well, my wife's got a good job, then you get a better one. Get up off your lazy and get out there and get a job. Well, maybe I don't make as much money. Well, you do your best you can. But that's your job. That's part of what you're about. If you're wanting your wife's respect and her love and her to look at you and go, "You're my man," then you got to feel that. You got to fill it up. You got to be that. Okay. I'll leave it right there. You ladies can root for me and go, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about." You got your money's worth, okay? I thank God for you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for putting up with me one more time. And I hope you enjoyed it because I have. And it's a real, live, true story about real people that really is in our lineage, too, that sometimes we forgot. Sometimes we forget that they're real, that they really lived, and they really had some of the same trials and tribulations that we have. But then you look at their integrity, and you look at their lifestyle, and you say, "Yes, that's what I want to be." Would you stand with us?